Hey, Joanna Rochester, Soul Alchemist. This is the wellness edition of Soul Alchemy. Soul Alchemy is a journey of transformation of the soul. When your soul is in alignment with your soul purpose, when you're stepping into a balance of your masculine and feminine, a balance of understanding emotions, a balance of alignment of your spiritual, your emotional, your mental state, then your physical state will also fall into alignment. And so I have Real Talk Soul Alchemy, where I talk more about the spiritual on Thursdays, but there is also today I talk more about the physical or the more human aspect of soul alignment, of stepping into your power. When you are healthy spiritually and emotionally, then you can heal your body. And our bodies were designed to heal themselves, but we've forgotten how. So if we can come back into alignment, then we can provide the body with the tools that it needs to heal itself. It's just that simple. So today I wanted to talk a bit more about anxiety and depression, because it's so prevalent in society, especially with everything that's going on in the world. And so it's important to understand, first of all, what anxiety and depression look like. And then from there, some of the natural remedies that you can utilize to deal with it. Good morning, Heidi. And so, first of all, what is the difference between anxiety and depression? And anxiety, and so first of all, they both come from the same biological, the same physiological process. It is an imbalance and interruption of some of the neurotransmitters, or chemical imbalance that's present that allows it to happen. And so they both come from the same place. Anxiety is more about overstimulation, and depression is just that, like a lowering of all of your senses, etc. You can have both at the same time. They're actually considered to be comorbidities, so they usually occur at the same time. But there is a distinction between them. But once again, there's no black and white that this is anxiety. Well, sorry, there is both anxiety and depression, but there's varying levels of anxiety. There's various levels of depression. So, someone, if you went to a doctor, they would say, well, you're not depressed. But clinically, you may not be depressed, but if you're experiencing some of the low-level symptoms, then you are depressed. And I know for years I had a low-level depression, and I just thought it was because I was crazy busy trying to raise 3 kids basically on my own, because my husband was working full-time, trying to be that perfect mother and perfect employee and perfect wife. And it was just overwhelming. And so, being slightly depressed, right? Not wanting to do extra things, not wanting to, play with the kids as much as I wanted to, feeling exhausted all the time. I just thought it was part of that world. But when I finally had a doctor that said, well, your iron levels are a little bit low, and I started to do something about that, then it was that low-level depression went away. So there's a whole bunch of things that can go into it. And there's lots that can be done from a natural therapy standpoint to reduce or release the symptoms of anxiety and or depression. And, I'm not saying don't take drugs, but ideally, Western medicine, allopathic medicine, is a last resort, and that you try the variety of other things first. Now, if you've been on the drugs, never just take yourself off them. You have to be weaned off of drugs, but there certainly are lots of drugs out there in the market that, I've seen clients that have been on a drug for 15 years, and it's, supposed to be a maximum of taking it for 40 days. And here they are 15 years still on it. And she went to her doctor and said, well, I don't think I should be on this. And he said, okay, we'll take you off of it. Didn't wean her off of it. So then she went through all of that. So please, if you are on medications, just you can start working with your primary care physician. Start doing the natural therapies, and ideally you'll move towards a place where you don't need the medications. If you've been on medications for a long time, you know how they work for you, and you can work with your primary care physician to start to wean yourself off of them. So anxiety, symptoms of anxiety, it's more of a worry, uncontrollable thoughts. You want to avoid situations. There may be thoughts of death. Depression, hopelessness. It's not worth trying. Feel worthless. And once again, there may be thoughts of death associated with it. So remedies, natural remedies that I always recommend to my clients are somewhere in the following. It's always a combination. It's never just one thing or the other, but to bring yourself back to health, it's giving your body the tools that it needs. So once again, psychotherapy is always an option, of course, to work with someone who can help you talk through. But it's part of what I do as a soul alchemist is to uncover the blocks that are preventing you from having the most in your life, of being the best version of you. And so working with inner child and soul work and shadow work, all of these pieces are preventing you from being that best version of yourself and releasing the anxiety and depression. And so when I work with someone, it's having a holistic approach of dealing with the emotional, dealing with the spiritual, dealing with the physical all at once, so that you can address all levels and not just approach it from dealing with the serotonin or one of the other chemical or one of the other hormones within your body that have been interrupted or out of balance. So psychotherapy and medication are always an alternative, but ideally, once again, you deal with the natural first. So staying active is one of the biggest things that we all can do, right? Getting out, moving around. When we sit at home and, I've been culpable here, right? The more you, especially being in lockdown, the more you're not in social situations, we can get stuck and think, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have to go out and talk to people. I don't want to have to go out and interact with people. And it in part, that's kind of part of a low-level depression, is that you just don't want to interact. But staying active, getting out, moving around gets the energy and everything flowing through your body so that it feels more natural to be out and moving around. Boost the negative ions, which allow your body to move. Serotonin's released. There's so many things about being active in whatever capacity that is. Going for a walk, going for a bicycle ride, rollerblading. Was just out on the weekend, a ton of people out rollerblading. So just get out and move. And that's one of the best things that you can do for your body. Avoiding alcohol. Unfortunately, I'm never going to tell you to not drink. Well, there may be the odd client I would tell to not drink, but for the most part, it is a natural sedative. And so it can make you feel down once again. And so that's not what we want. Smoking is another thing. Smoking, research has actually shown that smoking can increase the risk of developing anxiety. So, and also all the other health issues that are associated with it. And it is, a lot of people feel stress because they know it's an addiction. And so hypnotherapy is a great way, a great tool to help release that addiction to smoking and the huge impact that it has upon your health. Caffeine. Get rid of the caffeine if at all possible. If you're drinking 3 cups of coffee, try and go down to 2 cups of coffee. You may, if you cut it out completely, you may experience headaches because your body's addicted to the caffeine, and caffeine withdrawal will cause you headaches. There's no question about it. And it's something that, shows you that it's not good for you, but it's also not good for you on many other levels. If you have any imbalances, but it's hard on the lining of your bladder, the lining of your stomach, the hormones that are released when you drink the caffeine. And there are different types of caffeine, right? Caffeine in tea research has shown is actually not as hard on the body as the caffeine in coffee. I drink a ketone drink every day that has caffeine in it, but it's not the caffeine in the coffee, and so it is different for your body. But ideally, move away. The caffeine causes nervousness and jitters, kind of signs of anxiety, and can cause panic attacks. So consider eliminating the coffee from your diet. Getting a good night's sleep, of course, a good night's sleep for everything is so important. If we're not getting good night's sleeps, we will have health imbalances. We will have emotional imbalances. Our body cannot, or our brains cannot deal with this. The subconscious work that needs to be done when we're sleeping is so important. So, the good night's sleep, and I've talked about that many times before, but it's all part of that cycle of being healthy and happy and living that full life that you need to. So some other, changing your diet, good, whole food, natural, organic if possible, is amazing. The doing a food and mood diary. So 7 days of marking down the food that you eat, and then from there, considering, marking down your mood over that day-long period, and seeing, how you're affected by the food you eat, and you'll start to notice what's really going on with your body. And I think this is one of the biggest things when I work with my clients, is to get them to be an observer in their life, to be curious about what their body is telling them, what their thoughts are, what their emotions are showing them. Because so often we're just not in touch. We've lost that connection between our body and our brains, right? There's such a huge connection between our heart and our brains, and we ignore it, and we trust the brain and we don't trust the heart. We don't trust the gut, our own intuition that can guide us towards our best version of ourselves. So the more you can be that observer, the more that you can be curious, look at yourself as in the third person and wonder why you're doing things, what your thoughts are, what your emotions have presented themselves. All of these things will help you understand what your body's trying to tell you. This beautiful vessel that we live in is absolutely amazing, but we've forgotten, and we once again lost that connection between what our body shows us. And so you can start to notice how a lot of sugar affects you, but also low sugar, how it affects you. And both can have big issues, right, associated with them. Dehydration has a huge impact on our mood. We can have a lot of headaches if we're dehydrated. If we're dehydrated, we may think we're hungry. Instead, we're really thirsty. So drinking lots of water, ideally a couple liters of water a day. And that's in a liter, there is 4 8-ounce glasses approximately. And so, at least 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. And that may seem a lot. And I know it's a challenge when you're working outside of the house, well, even when you're working in the house, to be going to the bathroom all the time. But it is just so important for the brain, for the skin, for the joints, for the detoxifying your body. So get enough fluids in there. And it'll help your body balance itself better and control your thoughts better and have your brain function at that higher level. Also, processed foods has a huge impact on your body on so many different levels. The brain just can't utilize that and stores the processed, those additives, nitrates, sulfates, etc., stores them as fat. So you're putting on weight. The effect upon the neurotransmitters in your brain is significant. So, cut out the processed foods and come back to that whole natural diet as much as possible. Deep breathing exercises are amazing. They slow down your brain, slow down your body, allow you to come back into the moment and be present. Let go of those spiraling thoughts, come out of that low vibration, that low energy of a depression. So just breathe deep 5 times. Allow your belly to expand, and then your abdomen to go back in as you exhale. And as you breathe deep, it does all those things. It's slowing down your brain, slowing down your body. Allows your brain to function at a higher level because there's more oxygen there. Allows your cells to function at a higher level because they're getting more oxygen into them. So deep breathing exercises, set your timer for, to do 5 deep breaths 10 times a day, 5 times a day, whatever it is, until it becomes a habit where you come back to your breath. Especially if you're speaking or in Zoom meetings or anything like that, because often if we're talking a lot, we're not taking those deep breaths. And also, most of our lives, especially for women, we're told to suck our guts in. So we don't allow that full expansion of our abdomen to allow the lungs to expand as much as possible. Aromatherapy is an excellent tool. When we inhale essential aromatic substances, it goes directly into our brain and can have a profound impact upon us. We do have to be careful though, because aromatherapy, natural oils, when we breathe them in or put them on our skin, can be poisonous if we don't know what we're doing. So you should always be working with someone who deals with aromatherapy or deals with essential oils to understand what you're putting on your body, how your body should be reacting to it. You should be testing it 24 hours ahead of time, etc., etc. So I know, so many people just, sniff them, but please be careful, because it can have a profound impact because it goes right into your brain. So some of the natural aromatherapy oils that you can use to relax, sleep, boost your mood, like bergamot, lavender, grapefruit. All of these are great essential oils, but once again, it's ideal to work with someone who has some training on essential oils. And, here in London, we have Delicioso, and they sell their products through their store at the corner of, on Oxford Street East, right across from Quebec Street. That little spot, what's it called? I forget, but there's lots of places in London, but that's Delicioso is a natural skincare, artisanal skincare products, and it's two amazing women, and their mother has the essential oils, but they're amazing natural products made locally. So chamomile tea is an excellent way to slow down the brain, slow down the body, allow yourself to come back to the present, reduce those spinning thoughts and the jitteriness and of anxiety in particular. Homeopathic remedies. There's homeopathy, if you don't know what it is, it's a practice of medicine that's been around for several hundred years. And it's homeopathic remedies are derived from all natural therapies, such as plant parts, insect venom, animal venom, and natural minerals from the soil. It's all natural. There are no side effects. There can be contraindications, but they're rare, but there's certainly something, ideally you work with a homeopath. I am a registered homeopath to make sure that you're getting it. And just if you ever go into here in Canada, in Ontario, some like Great Canadian Superstore, Loblaws, some drugstores, health food stores will have different, the most common homeopathic remedies, but I strongly suggest don't follow what's on the bottle, because you're usually taking way too many. And you can actually be overstimulated with homeopathic remedies because they push your body to heal itself, your immune system to heal itself. And if you push it too hard, or if your system has gone, it's gotten too low in a substance and you throw in a homeopathic remedy, sometimes you can overreact. You're not going to get sick from it, but it can feel like an aggravation. And ideally, that's not what you're looking for. You're looking to heal. So homeopathic remedies like arsenicum, if you're a worrier, arsenicum. Ignatia, if you get stuck on emotions or you've been dealing with a lot of emotional trauma, it helps emotions to flow through your body. So, I recommend it all the time for anyone that's ascending and awakening, because it helps those energies to flow. But if you're dealing with divorce or grief, sadness of any sort, Ignatia will help you to release the emotions that are getting stuck within you. So other natural therapies such as Reiki, Qigong, yoga, meditation, once again, mindfulness, any type of mindfulness, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, all of these things, they bring you back into the moment and make you be more present so that you can become aware that you are getting caught up in that endless loop of thoughts that happen to us when we're in a depressed state or an anxious state. In homeopathy in particular, one of the questions, homeopathy asks, 150 questions, and they're all pointing me towards different remedies. But, one of them is, especially for anxiety, is, what makes you anxious? Are you worried? Anticipatory anxiety is what it's called, where you're anticipating bad things that can happen. There's great remedies for things along that lines. So consider all these natural therapies. There are some really great natural supplements that are out there. St. John's wort is very common. You do have to be careful with St. John's wort. There are some big contraindications that are out there, but ashwagandha is an adaptogen. It's a natural plant-derived adaptogen that gets your body, it's called an adaptogen because your body uses what it needs to from it. It's like a ginseng, but it's not going to be as, some people feel jittery on ginseng, but it is just an amazing plant. It does take a while for most people for you to notice that it's working. 2 to 3 months, but it is something that I highly recommend to a lot of my patients when I'm working with them when they first come to me to help the body to start to heal itself, to give it the tools that it needs. Because once again, we are designed to heal ourselves. We've just forgotten how. And, when we give our body the tools it needs, then it can do the work that it's supposed to. But once again, it is that holistic approach, dealing with those spinning thoughts, dealing with the emotions that you don't understand or trigger you and take you back, dealing with the shadow work, dealing with so many aspects that are there, PTSD, et cetera, et cetera. So to come back to a place of true health, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, try the natural therapies because they're available to you and they will help you. But the biggest thing is to become an observer in your life and start to pay attention to what your body's telling you so that you can respond with what it needs. This is Real Talk So Alchemy. It's part of a wellness edition, part of Speak Up and Empower, an online community. So check out speakupandempower.com for more information to either share your story and share your wisdom or to learn more from others that are interested in sharing. The Real Talk or Speak Up and Empower, we have conversations that change the way you see the world. Join me again on Thursday for Real Talk Soul Alchemy at 12:30, where I'll talk more about the spiritual component of changing your life and coming from the heart-centered place that allow you to do what's for your best and greatest good. Have an amazing day, and I hope you had a great long weekend here in Canada.